We are going to continue today with algebraic properties and look at how we can use them to actually prove answers to problems. Now that we understand the properties, let's talk about the algebraic proofs. Proof is important, just like if you're a big fan of Law and Order, which I am. They're always looking for evidence or proof that their statement is true. A proof is a step-by-step explanation of your work. It's evidence that shows what you did is correct and that your answer is actually true. So let's look at this problem here that we've solved and said it's equal to 0. Well, we can actually make statements to show that our work is correct. So, first, we have an original problem. 7 plus the quantity of 3 times 3 minus 16, all times 13. That's our given. Our given is our very first information that we have. It's what the problem is. From there, we multiply 3 times 3 using order of operations. Well, when we replace 3 times 3 with 9, we are using the substitution property, replacing one value with an equal value. Then we do 9 minus 16. Again, we're still working in the grouping of our order of operations, and we get negative 7. Again, substitution property, replacing one value with an equal value. Then 7 plus negative 7. Well, those give us 0 because they're opposites. And when we think of opposites and adding, we should think of the additive inverse property. And finally, we multiply 0 times 13. And when we multiply 0 by any number, we should think the multiplicative property of 0. And so now we've been able to prove with our algebraic properties the answer is correct. Let's look at another set. Here, first step is always given. So get used to putting that. Whether you're doing a geometric or algebraic proof, your first step is normally the given. Then we multiply 5 times 0, order of operations, and we get 0. Multiplying by 0 means the multiplicative property of 0. Then we add 7 and 0. Well, when we add anything to 0, we get itself, which is an identity, the additive identity property. Next, we do 7 minus 6, still working inside our parentheses, and get 1. We're replacing one value for a equal value, substitution property. And finally, 11 times 1, anything times 1 is itself, which is the multiplicative identity property. Let's go through this second one. We'll go a little quicker. Again, we start with the given. And order of operations tells us we deal with parentheses, and within those parentheses we deal with exponents. 5 squared is 25. Replacing 5 squared with 25 is the substitution property. Then inside those parentheses we subtract 25 minus 20 and get 5, replacing that value with 5. Again, substitution property. Next, we multiply 1/5 times 5. Well, 1/5 and 5, they look pretty familiar. Well, almost like opposites or reciprocals. Reciprocals should make us think multiplicative inverse property. Then 1 plus negative 7. Well, for some reason, we want to reverse that a lot of times because it's a lot easier to do negative 7 plus 1. If we choose to reverse it, we are using the commutative property of addition. You don't have to. You could still add those together without reversing it, but a lot of times it's easier to look at that negative in front. And then negative 7 plus 1 is negative 6, replacing that value with another equal value. Finally, substitution property. I want you guys to try these. So pause the video, try these two. Then you've nicely got how many steps you should have for each one. And remember, we're always starting with given. So pause the video now, and when you're done, you can play and check your answers. Hopefully on this first one, you have the given, then substitution, and multiplicative identity property. You're going to notice we use the substitution property quite often. 2 is a little more lengthy, but not too bad. So we have the given, then we substitute, have the additive inverse, the substitution again, the multiplicative inverse, and finally the additive identity. Well, that's it for proofs. We're going to spend time practicing in class. If you have any questions, please bring them to class tomorrow.